men haven't heard her.
Yep.
Hello here.
I just want to ask one question. My daughter's getting out of school. I saved all my money. She doesn't have any student loans. Am I going to get my money back?
Of course not.
So you're going to pay for people who didn't save any money, and those of us that did the right thing get screwed.
No, it's not anybody got screwed. When we
Of
started,
course we did. My buddy had fun, bought a car, went on vacations. I saved my money. He made more than I did. But I worked a double shift, worked extra. My daughter's worksheet is 10. So you're laughing. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. We did the right thing, and we get screwed.
I appreciate
That's
it.
all right.
Despite a whirlwind publicity tour giving him an onslaught of attention. Tapper and Axios reporter Alex Thompson's new book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again, was released in May to much fanfare. The book helped set the recent news cycle with new accusations of the Biden White House hiding the truth about the former president's fitness for office. To promote the project, Tapper has embarked on a wide-ranging book tour that landed him on a variety of podcasts, talk shows, and cable news. The book has also been promoted relentlessly across CNN, but the spotlight on Tapper has seemingly failed to give him a boost in viewership. The Lead with Jake Tapper averaged 525,000 total viewers from April 28th through May 25th, shedding 25% of CNN's audience in its time slot from the same period last year in the process. By comparison, Fox News offerings The Five and Special Report with Bret Baier averaged 3.3 million viewers from April 28th through May 25th, trouncing Tapper. Yeah, that's like 6 times the numbers. MSNBC also beat Tapper among total viewers, as programming on the Progressive Network averaged a little over 1 million viewers in the time slot. As a result, Tapper settled for only 11% of the cable news audience share, while MSNBC managed 21% and Fox News commanded 68% during the time frame. It was Tapper's lowest rated month since August 2015. So this is why his ratings are in the tank now. So Joe, famous lib account here, Jake Tapper, CNN, you should be ashamed of yourselves. This is in response to the Jon Stewart.
Wait, is she mad
montage.
because they wrote the book finally, or that's not because...
No, well, this is what it is. So the libs are upset that he's bashing Joe Biden. And then everyone who's critical of Joe Biden knows he's full of shit and that he knew all this years in advance, and he just sat on the information to deceive the public and then cash in on that deceit later by profiteering
all
off the
Democrats. They all, because when they say how Kamala ran a great campaign, my favorite line of all, only cost $1 billion.
Right.
To lose and go on, hawk to his mom's podcast instead of Rogan's. But all the dumbest moves you could think is because those people were making as much. They knew it was a loser.
Yep.
Cash out as much as we can.
Yep.
And they achieved $1 billion scam.
Oh,
and so now the
100%.
scam is done. A bunch of them want to keep making. They're going to put out like limited hangout stuff, like this book. Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's exactly what happened. Now, Richard Angwin, you talk about a dumb tweet. Jake Tapper's timing with Original Sin is a masterclass in insensitivity, capitalizing on Biden's cancer diagnosis for book sales. CNN's ethics are as compromised as Tapper's judgment. The cancer diagnosis came out like 3 days before the book release. What do you think? They wrote the book in 5 hours? Like, that's just an insanely stupid comment.
Well, he's being paid, obviously. He's obviously this is a masterclass in being paid to tweet something. That's how I
paid to tweet nonsense. Yeah. Leslie 007 with the American and the Ukraine flag in the bio. That's how you know you're in for a banger. It's such a somber day as we learn about the serious health condition of our former president, who is featured in this blockbuster new book by Jake Tapper, available on Amazon. It is disgusting, all of it, especially with a deranged madman with dementia in the White House.
Oh,
now.
my God.
Yes. Between the lines says CNN is a total disgrace. This seems unbelievable to say, but here it is. CNN is worse than Fox News. So those are all the libs.
No, don't.
Yeah.
You can't take that back.
Well, this is what I mean. They're boycotting the show now because the libs are pissed off that he insulted Joe Biden. And of course, on the other side, you have what is obviously true. And this is obviously the question that comes to mind amongst people with two brain cells to rub together. What did Jake Tapper know, and when did he know it? This guy says, I am surprised he didn't name it If I Did It. Yes, that was the name of the OJ the name of the OJ book could be called "If I Hit It." In this
Let's
case,
say he had written the book when he should have. Why? Right? We all could see it. You don't need a book. Me and Dunnigan were making videos about this for his entire time because it was so funny, and I would have to get Kyle to slow his impression down to be as slow and senile sounding as Biden. What are they talking about?
No, it is. I'm surprised CNN isn't more pissed at him for doing this, because you talk about using one gig to really hype another gig at the expense of the first gig. Like they
sign off on it. They had to.
Well, they had to, but it's so stupid. I mean, look at the backfire. Like, how could you allow him to do this? The whole book undermines his job at CNN. Like,
they make money on it somehow.
Like, you have a news anchor who's covering the presidential race for 2 years. He's on record, on camera, multiple times, gaslighting the public about how Biden is good to go. Mm-hmm. You allow him to write a book about how he's been using your airwaves to lie and gaslight the public for 2 years. Yeah, like, what did you?
CNN
was going to be the result of that.
This is on. I think this is for CNN. I think probably this is like those Navy SEAL books, like Lone Survivor, that the Navy just wrote for the dude and said, "You go say this," because the real story is not like the movie that made me tear up like a chump.
Oh, the
that's
movie?
What this is. CNN's got to pivot now because they failed so bad. So now, just like Cenk Uyghur, the man whose name it feels racist to say, he pivoted. Oh, populism's not bad. They're all pivoting now. So Tapper is a tool bag. He would never independently write a book. He wouldn't even report the news when it happened. CNN probably has a piece of it, I would guess, and it's for their image. Like, we're the more honest than MSNBC one. That's what they're trying to go for, a niche. They're just like paying money to learn how to talk to men. This is like another
exactly.
It's the same inept pivot.
Yeah, but as someone who does a show where we piss off Democrats and Republicans in pretty much equal measure, I can tell you, if you're running a big multi-million-dollar news network, that is not the way to drive ratings. There's a reason why Fox does well and MSNBC. I mean, they have not been doing well recently, but there's a reason why they beat Tapper in that time slot, because feeding red meat to Republican partisans puts asses in seats. The same thing is true on the other side. Feeding red meat to the blue MAGA people puts asses in seats. They're trying to thread a needle here. And it's one thing if you're trying to thread the needle in an honest way, like we try to do, which is like, hey, we're not team red or team blue. We're just calling it as we see it. Okay, that's a tough row to hoe, because most people want confirmation bias.
No gang alliance.
Tough row to hoe if you're doing it honestly. But here's the thing. He's doing it dishonestly. Like, he's doing it sleazily. He's trying to appeal to the nonpartisan, just objective truth seeker. The whole premise of your book is that you were a massive liar for 2 years when it mattered most. That's the whole premise of your book. And as Jon Stewart says there, if you have to tease out the news, hey, in 3 weeks, you're going to find something out that I know now. At that point, you're not in the news business anymore. And so, of course, it was going to fuck CNN. Of course, it was going to backfire on CNN. So how could they greenlight it if, in fact, they did? Which I assume you're right. I assume they would have to sign off on this, because who knows what the fuck he's going to write. You can't just let a guy go rogue like that. I would assume.
CNN would then plug the book every chance he gets.
And you let him plug
There's
the
not
book
a chance that he's not off road on this one in any way, shape, or form. He wouldn't. They probably want him to do it. There's a strategy, you could see it there, because it reeks of like an idiot that doesn't understand what, like, trying to pull a strategy but doesn't really understand what the problem yet still somehow,
Right. Indeed. All right, Misha, I know we got some chats now.
Yes, we've got chats now, everyone. First up, just chillin'. Have you guys heard about the mass child grave site they found in a cemetery in New York City that Dr. Fauci had hundreds of foster kids that he murdered in pharmaceutical experiments buried? Holy S. No, just chillin'. I haven't heard that. Thank you for the chat. My real name, here's a chat for you. Where are Kurp's next shows? What is that? Isn't it? Go to Kurt's Instagram. Isn't that where his next shows are? Kurt, do you know where your next shows are? We'll let him chime in a little bit. May Jest, starting on time threw me off, Keaton. I missed the first 15 minutes. Oh no, May Jest. Well, hey, Keaton's back on Monday, so expect us to start on time again. Oh, and I believe Russ will be with us on Monday, everybody. Corn Pop, the baddest dude. Remember how Biden never even had a cognitive test done? Also, some say the aneurysms gave Biden his ability to sniff children so much. Oh, that makes sense. All right, thanks, Corn Pop, the baddest dude. And now back to Keaton.
All right. Yeah, we have Russ on Monday, and we have a great guest lined up for Monday. I don't know if we're supposed to announce them in advance, so I won't. But we're very excited about Monday. That should be a great one.
I think we can announce in advance. I don't think there's a problem with that if you want to do that, Keaton.
Okay, well, it's up to you. You're the boss here while Jimmy's gone. We have Gabor Mate. We have Gabor Mate booked for Monday. I'm super excited about that. That is going to be an amazing talk, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So that's the news for Monday. All right. We're just waiting on Kurt. So if you got any more, you can read those.
Oh, yeah. I do have a couple more. Let's see. Thank you, Corn Pop. Just Want World Peace sent several Rumble rants. I didn't hear you read them, so here's some more money. Hoping this sticks. Enjoying the show from Chicago. Just Want World Peace. I don't know what happened. There's been some glitchy streams today on all platforms, it seems like. And so, yeah, I never saw those earlier chats and then eventually had to refresh the page to get new chats. And I guess everything got lost. So sorry about that. Thank you for sending another chat over. This is not the 21st century says, what do you think about the pyramid / Sphinx synthetic aperture Doppler scale?